No, so we're going to do a kind of icebreaker. You have microphones there. What does this topic mean? What does it mean to you? I mean, how does it resonate with you? Let's just throw that one in. I give you just 2 minutes each to just speak to that question at this time. And what can you share about it? How does it hit you? Any of you can go first. Let's start with Enitan, please. Thank you.
Okay. Basically, for me, this has been a dream for me. The journey of resilience, and for people to gather together. When I look at this crowd, I see all of us like a wizard. You know, we say a wizard called us has arrived on the scene to save the world. So Stephanie is doing a great job. We're all social worker heroes. And resilience is at the bane. It's the first protective factor of mental health and emotional well-being. It's at the bane of our ability to survive and perform in the world. So it's as strong as having support systems. It's even stronger. So I'm happy that I'm seeing this, and it's just the beginning. That's what I'll say. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
All right, thank you. I was going to say Pastor Burale. Okay, President. They're all peace, right?
Okay.
All right. I want you to add a little bit to it. How important is it for us to have strong support system for men?
It is of absolute importance because we are the seed carriers.
Okay.
If you crush the seed carriers, you affected society.
Wow.
It will be useless to have a fertile woman without the seed carrier. So the powers that be are creating a system to make sure the man is crushed. You crush the man, you have finished society. So it is of absolute importance to have the men standing, and standing strong for the sake of our society. Because if men collapse, women are confused, and children have no direction.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Akanimo, what role do you think women will play in helping us achieve this resilience? So it's actually one question. I'm just breaking it down so that I'm adding to it.
I think it's been providing support. So you see, for men, like I think as our president just said, incoming president said, for men, many times there's that, you hear things like man up. You hear things like men don't cry. So we're already put at some kind of like pedestal. So even if we're feeling weak and down, it's almost like society doesn't allow us, or we don't allow ourselves to ask for help, to admit that we're going through stuff. So for the women that love us, the support we need is sometimes is as simple as listening. And that listening, I can't emphasize it enough. Listening, and the big word is active listening, which means you are not listening and you're like, I can hear you, continue. You're not on your phone. It's not judging. Many times as a counselor, when I'm speaking to people and I finish counseling with them, they say that was they've never had that kind of experience before. And I say, and the feedback I get many times is that you listened. So it's not the degrees. It's not, I don't have a PhD. It's not the PhD or the master's. Many times is that you actually listen to somebody. I think there's a quote that says the greatest respect you can give someone is to actually listen to what they have to say. And very often in our very busy society, people just don't sit down to listen. So for me, for the women that love us, is to actually listen, and show empathy, not judge.
Women, are you hearing that? Take notes.
Not say, how can you say that kind of thing? How can you, are you safe? Not to provide that kind of judgment. There's a lady I counseled once. She had attempted suicide 3 times. And in the process of counseling with that, something had happened to her when she was young. But that thing also happened to her siblings. And so every time she attempted suicide, guess what her siblings would tell her? What do you think they would say to her? Like, but you're not the only one. This thing also happened to us. And in therapy, that's judgment. So every time they did that to her, she wanted to commit suicide more. But she sat down with me and I said something like that. Wow, that must have been very devastating for you. Her face changed. It was like for the first time, someone heard her, someone validated her. Not that I'm saying, oh, go ahead and commit suicide, but someone validated her feelings. And it was like the session was over. All of a sudden, someone heard. So for the women that love us, it's just really just paying attention to listen. Men, if a man cries, it's okay.
Yeah.
And for the men and for the men for the men that are here, or men that are listening, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say, look, I'm going through depression. Can someone direct me where to go? Where can I go? Because many times that's where, they say more women attempt suicide, but more men are successful.
Yeah.
So it says a lot to me that many times when the man just feels that there's no solution, and there's no one for me to talk to, let me just end it all.
Wow, thank you so much. We drove the conversation. Put your hands together, please. You can do that. We drove it from here down. We're going to reverse back a little bit. You said something about this thing about men don't cry. I counsel people. I mean, you hear all the time, oh, there is violence, what do you call it? Violence in the house, and it's always the man beating the woman and whatever. How many of you ever heard any man go to report that my wife beats me? Now, it happens. So we were together with this couple, and something was wrong, Then I now asked the guy, does your wife physically abuse you? And the head dropped, and he said, yes. So who will you go and report to? Your wife beat you. So, Pastor Burale, speak to this societal norm that men don't have to show emotion. How is it destroying us? Speak to that, please. Thank you.
If there was a 5-year-old boy here and a 5-year-old girl here, and the girl fell down, all of us would want to rush to save the girl. Are you okay, honey? Buju buju, and all those things. And if the boy fell down, we'd all say, don't look at him, he will cry. If you tell me at the age of 5 not to cry, don't expect me at the age of 50 to show emotions. So what you got to understand is, as our brother said, it is okay to cry. I'm not an advocate of men wailing, no. But it is okay to cry within the parameters of decency, because you understand you're the leader, you're the lion, you're the king. You understand? Now, if you start wailing, how will your children wail and how will your wife wail? You understand? But it is okay to show your emotion, because we don't, and it's like a pressure cooker without releasing the pressure. At some point, it will burst. How does it burst? 77% of the suicides are by men. How does it also burst? Levels of domestic violence. We have a very, very crazy case in Kenya that happened 3 days ago of a man who got a 20-year-old to meet. They met online, and then they met physically, and they had an altercation. This man had carried us an axe, a saw, a chainsaw. So he dismembered the girl and went with the head. You understand? It is some level of pressure that we are looking for a place to express it. I would rather we express it in a football match. And if you support Manchester United, even worse, because the team has been losing like crazy. You understand what I'm saying? So the society, and there are 3 pressures that we have, if you allow me: personal pressure, family pressure, and societal pressure. Societal pressure says men should not cry. Family pressure says you must give a solution to everything. If mama is sick in the village, the mom will call you. Even if you don't have a solution, you will say, Mom, I'll sort it out. And then you lock yourself in the room and say, God, I do not have a solution. Personal pressure is, tomorrow I want to be better than I am today. I want to have the best car. If the 3 of us were in the traffic and we all have Mercedes-Benz, exact color, leather seats, DVD, and all same color, I would now start looking for the scratch on his side to make mine look better. And the men here will agree with me when we go to the gents.
Oh, that's why we don't go to the gym. That's why we don't go to the gym.
Can I go deeper? Can I go deeper? When we go to the gents, we don't stand like this. We are always comparing. So some people walk out feeling like an apology. Others walk out feeling like Manchester City. So we have those kinds of pressures. But where do women come in? Speak to the king in the boy. Just that. If you tell a man you can do it, I will carry this speaker with one finger, this one with one toe, and attempt to carry this building. If only our women would understand. The biggest mistake women do, which is pressure, is by comparing their men to other people. You know, other people are taking their families to Dubai.
Hey.
You're only taking us to Abuja. And you know, all that kind of pressure kills a man. And then why will we not talk? The three of us can meet, talk about football, talk about politics, but live with our issues. Because I'll say, if I tell him my issues, will he still respect me as a man? If I tell him my issues, will he go and tell the whole world? So I will keep quiet. And then the enemy isolates. The enemy is like a politician. Divide and rule.
Yeah.
When I commit suicide, file closed. Next man.
Wow. Enitan, that's your part. You are a clinical psychologist. Please, let's put our hands together. You see how this thing is going? This is very serious. Some years ago, I used to take my son to Unilag to go play soccer from school. And he was tackled by these big boys. He was in secondary school, but he was tall enough. And he was crying. And they were like, Henry, don't cry. And I said, guys, stop. Boys cry. And they're looking at me. It's okay to cry. It's really okay. So speak to that. How can we foster this communication? How can men begin to talk? What is happening in the cocoa of the cocoa? Without feeling judged, without feeling I have to be macho. How do we break it down and become women? Because actually, we men, we're talking about us. Women. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the first thing I'll say is the major enemy to a man and every man is his ego.
Ego.
Our ego is our greatest enemy. That burden of significance, that part of us that asks the question, what is in this for me? How can I be reigning supreme over this situation? Our ego, the funny thing about our ego is that it's so unforgiving that it stands in our way when we are supposed to rise up. When we're trying to rise up, it stands in our way. When we've risen up, it's there to pull us down. And whenever we fall, whether mentally, emotionally, or career-wise, or in whatever wise, or in our relationships, our ego will always also be there to prevent us from getting up again. That's why I say our egos are so unforgiving. It is because of our egos that we have issues venting our feelings and our emotions. Because we are afraid of being judged. We are afraid of losing our social equity. There is something called stoicism, being stoic. It's something that was promoted by Marcus Aurelius. He was a Roman emperor. He said, emotions should not exist in any dictionary. Emotions is evil. It is that thing that stands in the way of winning battles. He always spoke to all his soldiers. When you're going to war, make sure you don't carry your emotions along with you. So men grew over the eons believing that being emotional is a vice. Being emotional is a weakness. So we find it difficult to communicate with one another. We always obsess over showing each other our trophies. Unlike the women. I'll prescribe a woman to any man who wants to live a healthy mental life. Watch the women when they go to their salons. With their hair under their hair dryer, they are sharing their experiences. They are ventilating. They are sharing their pains. The other woman that doesn't even know these other three that are gisting will draw her chair near. Will say, hey, see, now your own is still small. You don't know my own condition.
Sure.
Your own so now I'm trying to create a scenario where men are in a salon and their heads are under a hairdryer. How it should be Two men have met in the salon. They should strike off this conversation. Hey, my guy, you know it's you. I don't know what thing happened to me. Maybe now because of COVID, maybe now because of socio-economic pressure. You know, say, I don't feel do more than 30 minutes anymore with my woman. This thing is really disturbing me. Then the other one will say, sure, hey, you never see anything. You still they talk about 30 minutes. Me, my own even worse. My own are 10 minutes. My own are 10 minutes. I don't call pastor. I don't call everybody tired. Then the other man that has his head inside the hair dryer will now keep quiet. They say, my guy, you don't say anything. She be now the person where even get minutes self. Go fit talk. You people don't even know anything. Me, I know if you even get erection. That is how women. They will talk. They will track each other emotionally. They will ventilate. By the time they are leaving that salon, they are feeling good. They are feeling like they've opened their windows and the airs of the universe have blown into your room does not have anything to offer the universe, but the universe has everything to offer your room. So it's better for you as a man to open your windows and talk to your fellow man.
Absolutely.
So this is our burden as men. Our ego is our greatest enemy, just like a woman's intelligence is our own greatest enemy. I worked in Arrow. I don't know if you know Arrow, Abeokuta. It's one of the biggest neuropsychiatric hospitals in Africa. And I see women, they outnumber men 10-1 in registering and coming to register for admission as inpatients and outpatients. They outnumber men 10-1. But when they are filling their forms for discharge, and when we take roll call, the hospitals are filled with men.
That's right.
10-1. Females being 10% of the population in the hospital. So what does that mean? It means men find it difficult to come to seek help. And when the women come to seek help, they get discharged easily because they're not working with their egos. So we as men, we need to have this kind of platforms where we talk. We need to have a day when there will be no woman here and everywhere will be filled with men.
Absolutely.
We're just opening up about our finances. My guy, I know if you
Let's put your hands together for that. That's awesome.
I know if you pay
Steph Red.
You know, I have a lot of clients, male clients, that have erectile dysfunction. You will never see it on social media. But they will come. They will come. They will say, Mr. Oyenuga, you know they can't see somebody like me with you. Because I don't want people to be asking me, I saw you with Mr. Oyenuga. Are you sure you're all right? I want you to come to me in my house.
Yeah.
Come to me in my house. Why? Women don't do that. A woman will go to a therapist and knock on the door. In fact, sorry for taking your time. We need to move from stigmatization. We need to move from that to normalcy, making these discussions normal. That is what is happening in the UK and in the US now. It's now normal that students will gist on their playgrounds and they will tell each other, they will talk about football, then they will say, who's your therapist? You see a smile on their face. Who's your therapist? On my way from Debenhams, I branched at my therapist. Sorry, I'm coming late to class. Tell Mr. Monty that I just stopped on the way to see my therapist. It's not abnormal. It's not atypical. It's not something to cover, nothing to be bashful about. In America, they've even gone ahead. They've now started glamorizing it as if they are checking their designer wristwatches. You're not cool. You're still seeing Mr. Oyenuga. Have you tried Steph Red? Have you tried Mama Daniels, Leila Daniels? As if they are checking out their designer shoes, Prada, whatever. They even glamorize it. But in Africa, in silence we dwell. And we need to get out of that ditch. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Put your hands together for him. Now, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a leap of faith. I'm going to jump over there. And he's going to close the conversation before I ask them a general final question. Now, just last Sunday, after church, I'm like a pastor also, believe it or not. This young man, you'll probably see him on TV. It's probably whatever. Came in, was a member of the church. You know what he said? Point blank. Emmanuel, I'm tired of job. I'm tired of my life. I'm tired of my family. I'm tired of everything. I don't whatever. Right there, we are three men. You know what one man said? Hey, bro, be strong in the Lord, whatever. And I said, don't do that. And what I did, I had to dismiss the other two men. We sat down for like 30 minutes talking. This guy has had it up to this level. He's successful. He's on TV every time, but he has had it. Now, Mr. Akanimo, it looks like men have been using negative coping skill. We just a chest stamp. With a chest stamp. Macho, we look good, but inside we are dying. How can men develop a more healthier coping skill so that we don't die as fast as we are dying right now? Over to you.
Thank you. I saw something on social media recently where they said men notice that they're more grandmas than grandfathers. So take it easy. I think two things I would say. One is, yes, society says we're the providers most of the time, but we also need to make sure that we're also taking care of ourselves. There's something called the 4 S's of resilience. One of it is sagacity. And sagacity is sometimes just having a quote that gingers you. So it can be, this too will pass. Sometimes having those quotes that just are by your side, that even when you're going through a tough time, you say to yourself, this too will pass. Some people say it is what it is. I know a lot of millennials and Gen Zs like saying, it's not that deep. I don't know whether that one encourages or discourages, but that's one of the S's. The other one is, how do you cope? And for some people, it's, you choose your poison. I say, self-care can be, for some people, it's a shower. For some people, it's sleep. What's your own self-care? How do you ginger yourself when you're stressed out? For some people, it's exercise. Exercise is excellent. So find that thing that is good. Not go and drink 2 bottles of and finish and get drunk. But find that thing for you that works for you. For some people, it's reading. For some people, it's music. I remember during COVID when, I don't know whether I was trying to be a data analyst, every time I was looking at the numbers and whether they were going up, I found myself more anxious. So I said, okay, no, I'm not doing that. But by the time I listen to music, I feel much better. So find that thing. But one of the other S is support. And finding that person, whether it's a partner, whether it's a family member, whether it's a counselor, a coach, finding someone, a friend, who when you speak to that person is not going to judge you, that person is going to support you, that person is going to direct you to where you can go and get help. So finding, those are three of the assets. The last one is how do you solve problems when you have issues? For some people, it's brainstorming. For some people, it's talking to someone. For some people, it's writing down notes or to-do lists. But those are healthy ways that you can cope when you're going through.
Thank you. Put your hands together for him. Yeah. Before you drop the mic, you talked about finding someone. Even while seated there, a couple that we just started counseling just sent me a text. When can we see? And I say, I'm in the middle of something we're going to see. So how can we find you? Social media. Just share your social media handle with us.
At the Akanimo Ekong.
Okay.
At the Akanimo Ekong.
Okay.
On IG. Yes.
You are on X, you're on IG.
I'm on X and
LinkedIn.
IG.
Obviously, you're on LinkedIn.
I'm on LinkedIn. Yes.
Okay, so that can find him. And of course, our dear president, pastor, everything. How can we find you? Because we need to continue this conversation.
Absolutely. I'm on Burale 1.
Okay.
Number 1, the numero 1.
Number 1. Numero uno.
Yes.
Okay.
And my website is www.robertburale.com. Yes.
And he remembers it. That's all. You get the joke? And of course, let's go down to Enitan. How can we find you?
I'm on Facebook actively and on Instagram.
Okay.
Just send me a DM and I respond at the speed of thought. Thank you.
Yeah, all these handles are for the men, and the women who love the men take it. The handles, right? Okay.
Enitan, Oyenuga. Once you just, my name is not popular.
Okay.
Once you just type it there, any social media, whatever, emotions mechanic. That's what my clients call me, emotions mechanic. So,
All right, for those who are listening online, please send those links, those handles to your husbands, to your brothers, to everything. Men need to talk so that we don't change our prayers to end with a women. Thank you for listening.
All right.
We're going to have question. We're actually doing very well with time, right?
Yes.
Like 3 minutes more
No, you are.
on point. Can we take question? Go ahead.
I'll do protocol observed. My first question goes to Mr. He's sitting by my left hand side. Yes.
Akanimo, okay.
Yes, Akanimo. He talks about listening. Not the one you are listening and you are pressing your phone. That's good listening. I remember when I was working in Abuja in a call center, I was wearing a headset. I was discussing with a customer on phone. My team lead was speaking to me and I was typing. So how do you collate it with multitasking if you want to listen? Because my team lead will not repeat his question again after telling you. And the customer, I'm attending to him and I'm also typing on my system. So he talked about good listening, not when you are pressing your phone. So is it not possible to be multitasking, doing the listening and doing other thing at the same time? That's one. My second question goes to our pastor, president, sorry, please. He talks about comparison. Don't you think comparison may make the other person boost his ego to increase what he has been doing? Maybe he's doing it less. He wants to increase it so that he can do it more better than the way he was doing it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So number 2.
Let's take a lady.
Yeah, so that's number 2. Then there's number 3.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Uche Monu. Okay, so my question is for Mr. Akanimo. So you mentioned sharing to people, a support group. So how do you handle it when you share something that is of concern to you and is out there? The person now spreads it or puts it out there and starts to tell people about it. How do you handle that?
How do you handle that?
Yes.
One last one. Yes, please. There's a hand here. To the young lady. All right. Sharp.
Good afternoon, everyone. So it's just a general question, but I think the comments came from Mr. Akanimo. He said about respect. So there's an issue when in marriage where you say, she disrespected me. I asked her, did I insult you? So for respect, I'd like to know what men categorize as respect.
Great question.
Because he said greatest respect is
In fact,
to
that should be the
listen.
only
And that's
question.
one. That's one. So I like if anyone, and I know that it's for different men. There are different ways they say. Maybe it's general. This is how we want respect to be because it's a problem. Big one.
Okay. Thank you. Enitan, you're going to help her.
Thank you.
Who wants to go first?
Let me answer the question the gentleman asked about listening. No, when you're trying to help somebody, when someone comes to you for help, it's important you provide a safe space for them. So if you are, for instance, assuming in an office setting, someone came to meet the boss and wanted to talk to the boss, and the person was busy on his laptop, the best thing to do is one of two things. It's not to say, okay, continue, I'm listening. Even if you're really busy at that time, say, look, can we do this some other time? Or I only have 10 minutes. But in that 10 minutes, give them that space. That is respect, and that shows that you are listening. So leave out the distractions, find the time. If this is not a good time, look, can we do this at another time? If you need more than 10 minutes, then let's meet up XYZ time. That is a great form of respect, and that's where people would really pour out to you what they're going through. So please don't multitask when it comes to this, trying to help people. It's also good when we're talking to our children as well. We're all busy. We want to be watching Netflix or Manchester United, and then you're on your, you're saying you're listening to the child. No, when you really give them that space, they know that they're listening. That's when they will even open up more. But when they see that you're distracted, you're watching the match, goal, what were you saying? Goal, then they wonder, my father is not there for me. My mother is not there for me. This person is not really listening. So please don't multitask at that time. Can I take the second question? Because one was directed at me. Okay, so the question around
Respect.
putting now that respect one. That one is. But the question about putting something on a social group. Yeah. I don't know whether I said that to. Let me take it. What I said is that find someone. You have to be able to define that person. I can't. Sometimes it is a family member. Sometimes the family member is the wrong person for you to talk to. Yeah. Don't quote me. Don't misquote me. I'm just saying that you need to know if someone in your family is someone that you can speak to and is safe and they won't judge you, please go ahead. If it is a friend, by all means. If it's a boss or a colleague, do that. If it's a pastor, it's fine. If you can't find anybody in all your social groups, then please go and speak to a counselor or a coach who, by their training, they're expected to listen, to be discreet, to not judge. So I hope that helps. Okay? Some people are bolder and they can put out anything on their social media group and say, look, someone on my social media group posted something recently and said, look, I'm having difficulties in having an erection, or what do you guys, all of us are above 50, what do we do? That person is bold, he's okay. Some other person would never do that. But for him, it was fine, and he was able to handle that. So I hope that helps.
Then there was the comparison. You got to understand the mind of a man. When your woman compares you to somebody else, we decode it as a put down. Now remember, men are like a football team. I could be a defender. If you compare me to a striker, you're making me play outside my area of grace. Help me become the defender. You understand? So for us men, we want our women to know who we are, or see that light within ourselves and help us ignite that light, as opposed to making me dance to the tune of somebody else's choir and my beats have stopped beating. So you got to understand that. Don't compare. Ladies, please do not compare. Don't dare compare your man to another man. Don't talk about your ex-boyfriend's iPhone when your boyfriend has a chai phone. You understand? You got to be extremely careful. And just my 2 cents as I hand over the microphone is also respect. What love is to a woman, respect is to a man. And respect is seeing the king in that man, or seeing the gold in the dust. Even in public, allow me to tell you ladies, even in public, when your man is talking, and he may be talking a lot of nonsense, just nod your head. Okay. Rub his back. In the car and ask him, what mumu are you speaking, But in public, you got to make the man feel as if he's the best thing since sliced bread. And even when you disagree with your man, tell him, my husband, I disagree. But what do you think about this other option? For you who read the Bible today, I charge you with the responsibility of studying Delilah. We preach Delilah as a bad woman, but there's a good side to Delilah. When Samson came, she didn't say Samson. She said Samson. And he was offered her thigh, which is the place of rest. And anytime your man puts his head on your thigh, the next thing is your hand rubs his head.
Correct.
You are the place of peace. Otherwise, your man will be driving his big car past your mansion and going to a one-bedroomed house because somebody calls him the king and you tell him where the microwave is.
That's deep. Very deep.
Ladies, unless you're jealous, can you clap for that statement?
Clap for that statement. Please, everybody, remember to hashtag those nuggets and those pictures. Hashtag is UR3 Summit, UR324, and of course, tag UR3 Conference. Very, very important. That's what I do. Finally, let's hear from Enitan.
Before I continue, I just want to add something little to what he just said.
Enitan, the last time you added something little, it was big.
Yeah, just short.
Because there's a guy here.
Does anybody know the name of Samson's wife? Do you know that? Yeah, he had a wife. He had a wife. He was with.
So the Samson inside Bible.
Yeah, he had someone he was going out with.
He has a
He had
girlfriend.
a woman that he was going out with, but the woman was so irrelevant. Delilah made her so irrelevant, to the point that he always branched when he was coming back from war at Delilah's place, and all through the scriptures it was just Delilah, 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 and it's because of this respect thing. Because respect is the meal of a man. That's what we feed on. You're feeding the man's ego directly. You're not even feeding him. You're making a man is someone that goes out to fight, just like Samson. And in the place of war, he suffers self-esteem, bruised self-esteem. Most men in Nigeria today even have female bosses that would have scolded them at work, that would have given them queries, that they would have carried their bags for. I've seen men in Nigeria, they will carry a bag for a woman into the... Then you now go back home, a place where should be your resting place. And your woman is now also making you have that same feeling that you're having. So that's why respect is very, very important to us as men.
You can see we are touched. The men are touched by what we are saying. He has something else to say.
So just very
Women,
quickly.
this is our heart.
So just very quickly, please also, you talked about comparison. Please don't compare children to another. I know anytime when I speak to parents, they say, what's the big deal? We were compared when we were young, but yes, we're in a different dispensation, and we need to respect that. Many times I have young people who have attempted suicide. It's because either a parent has said, why are you not like your sister or your brother? Or a parent has tried to force them to read one of those course, a particular course. So please, as parents, let's not compare. There are better ways to ginger our kids and to provide guidance and coaching to them than to say, why are you not like your sibling?
So on that note, we come to the end of this segment. Akanimo, Burale, and Enitan, you've been a wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause. A round of applause for them.